So I dyed some yarn last weekend and I'm going to show you the results of my experiments with yarn dyeing. Whether or not they're good or not, I shall leave to you to judge. I mean, you're welcome to tell me what you think about the colours that I've dyed. They are over there on my desk, just there. This also is a completely different setup to normal because I bought new tech and I don't know how to use it. So I want this video to be reasonably swift in case it goes a bit pear-shaped. I won't have like ruined an entire afternoon of chatting. I'll try and stick to the basics and not waffle too much because I did do that and decided I was being boring. So now I need to like keep the tempo up a bit more rather than just droning on about successes and failures in dyeing yarn. And can I just caveat all of this by saying yarn dyers are amazing. I have such appreciation for people that have businesses that are about dyeing yarn because, oh my goodness, I have so much respect because it's hard. And it's not to say that I waltzed into this going, how difficult can it be? I knew it was going to be difficult, but I dyed like 10 or 12 skeins of yarn over last weekend. And I dyed each of them individually because I don't have the tools and equipment to do like several at a time. And I wanted each one to be different because I wanted to try and build up on skills and see what would happen. I have different textures of yarn. I wanted to see how they dyed up and all of this stuff. To do that for a living is brilliant. I mean, there's so much skill and talent involved and hard work. I mean, I'm not shocked. I'm just full of admiration because, yeah, because of all the reasons I've just said. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this is to maybe come up with a simple crochet shawl design, but see what it looks like in different textures of yarn, see what it looks like in like plain yarn, which is not hand dyed, which is just like one tone. What impact does each type of fibre have and each type of texture and each sort of coloration have on just a pretty simple crochet shawl? Nothing too outrageous because you want to look at the fibres and the yarns and how they are behaving, not just relying on fancy stitch work, I suppose. Although, totally love that as well. This is just out of curiosity. So, I'm going to go and get the yarn. Here we go. Ready? Here it is. Okie pokey. Firstly, let me just show you what I did a few years ago. This is not my first foray into yarn dyeing. Oh no. I did it a few years ago, probably again in an amateurish novice style without really much forethought, just bunging dyes in a pot and seeing what happens with the yarn. There is a lot of science to do with colour theory and there's a lot of science and measuring to get certain levels of pigmentation and all of that jazz. I am not going to talk about that. There are actual yarn dyeing videos made by professional yarn dyers that can do that better than I can. I'm just here to talk over my results and my plans for what I'm going to do with the yarn and whether or not I like the results at all. For each of my yarn dyeing adventures, I've used Landscape Originals. I think it's called Craft Colour and it's an Australian yarn dye, but I bought it from Wigham Wools, which is a UK company. And these little pots are £4. And I bought a handful of different colours recently, but I had 3 or 4 left over from the last time I tried experimenting with dyeing yarn, which was a few years ago, can't remember exactly. This is empty because when I did the first yarn dyeing experiments, I did these 2 skeins of yarn, 100 grams each, and it's a British sheep breed of yarn, which is a long wool, and that's all I can remember about it. But it's dyed in marine, and I am pretty sure I used the whole pot on just these 2 skeins. Like I got a pot of water, like a pan of water, not my food pans, I know better, well actually I didn't at the time, but I do now, didn't use food pans this time round, just dunked the whole pot in the water, and then this is the result of that, which this is a lovely intense like cobalt blue. Still haven't used it. I think either a shawl or a cowl. Not sure what yet. What do you think I should make with 200 grams of this pretty blue yarn? It's like a 4-ply, a fine 4-ply, thick lace weight, I suppose. Let me know what I should make with that, because it's clearly been sat in my stash for several years without a plan. Every now and then I've gotten it out and gone, you're going to be, and then it just no, it doesn't work out, whatever it is. So I need a plan for that, because it deserves to be turned into beautiful crochet stitches. I've got a lap full of yarn skeins now. So let me show you the main reason for the yarn dyeing endeavours. I bought a few skeins of yarn recently in different textures, so i.e. boucle and slub. I already had an alpaca lace weight fluff, Surrey alpaca and silk, and maybe something else, I can't remember. And I wanted to make sure that they were similar colour, so we weren't really influenced by the different colours when it came to working up the same shawl pattern in each of these skeins of yarn. Do I like these colours? Objectively, yes. Subjectively, they are not my colour palette at all. And I showed them to my husband, and he said that they looked like something you would find in a shop in Totnes. And he is not wrong. And if you know Totnes, which is a town in Devon, did I introduce myself? My name's Rosina. I'm a crochet designer and I live in Devon, but I don't live in Totnes. But it's a gorgeous town and it's got some really lovely shops, but it has an alternative vibe. But that's cool, right? It looks really pretty. Like, it has some speckling that I think I would deem a success. My main colour was gonna be blue with some yellows. I didn't want it to be too IKEA-ish, and so I panicked and added different shades. This yellow became green, which actually is a really good intense green, and then I tried to add some speckles, which I think worked. This dye, by the way, already has citric acid in it, and citric acid is apparently supposed to help with intensifying the speckles, like making them more crisp. But I don't think it worked. I don't think there's enough quantity in these pots to do concentrated speckling. If I were to be more serious about it, I'd probably order some citric acid and mix this dry mix in with it as I sprinkled it on. There's a lot of bleeding in terms of other speckling attempts within this collection. This one was roughly the same. I did it in a side by side with the other one. Both could be a little bit more intense, I think, in saturation. However, I panicked and took it out too early, which meant that I had like a sea green or a spring green water left over. When you dye yarn, you're not supposed to have any coloration in the water at all. It's all supposed to have absorbed into the yarn. But, oh well, I dunked the fluff into the leftover colour water, which is the base, like pale green, which actually I really look like that pale apple green, like Granny Smith. Really like that. Should not have tried speckling on this because it is turned into a dirty soup. And I arguably ruined it. But imagine if it wasn't an alpaca fluff, it would actually have come out this colour, which is quite a lot different, isn't it? Contrast is crazy. So I learnt not to try and speckle on fluff, but I learnt that lesson after I'd done it a couple of different times. So those three will all become the same shawl, I think, when I get around to it. I have some swatches of the shawl. I'll show you in a minute. I accidentally ordered 2 skeins of boucle and I'd only meant to order one. I ordered them from blueface.com or something, bluefaceyarns.com, which is like a branch of Chester Wools who do the big bulk orders for proper yarn dyers. So you can just order single skeins of yarn to play with like I did. This one, again, very totness, very not me, but still something says I really like it. Again though, I think it could be more intense, and I chickened out way too soon, and I shouldn't have done. I could do a different shawl. I could probably try and do a cirrus shawl if I have a complementary skein of mohair yarn. That would look nice, because this I think is very similar. I think this DK boucle is what I use for the cirrus shawl. So this could easily become a cirrus shawl if I find a mohair to go with it. What colour mohair do you think I should choose if this were to become cirrus? See, some of it's a bit dirty and it's a bit dull here. So I would need what? I mean, there's so many different colours in this, which again was a major risk, and I surprised I played that game. With all these colours in it, I suppose you could choose any one of them as the plain mohair to go with. What would you choose? What colour mohair would go best with this in a cirrus shawl? I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on to the ones I don't like and then end with ones I do like. Ages and ages and ages ago, Faye from Brew from the Bothy gave me 5 skeins of undyed yarn of lace weight alpaca. I think it's lace weight, it's alpaca and wool. 600 grams per 100 metres. So I've got a lot of meterage in these 3 skeins, which I dyed with a very small amount of brown yarn to try and get like I guess a latte colour. And I succeeded in that, but also at the same time, as much as I love brown, it is one of my favourite colours. This does not sing to me. I don't like it particularly. And I did try some speckling and achieved ish. Let's see if I can. But it's not, it's just, I didn't have enough powder left over, to be honest. And where I did it, it has splotched a bit. But when it's sort of in an individual strand, I guess it's not so bad. But I want to make the Barton Hap shawl. But I also don't, because I want to make it in yarn that I am absolutely in love with. And I'm only indifferent about this. And also, I only probably just have enough to do it. And it could be a big game of yarn chicken. I don't know. Is it worth the risk? Would you do it? If you knew that potentially you might be 50 metres off, would you still do it? You could, I guess there's some jiggery pokery and room for manoeuvre with the contrast colours, but ultimately, would you do it? I think the pattern that I designed used 400 metres, not 300 metres, but the yardage, the meterage is different. So I think overall this does mean that you have enough, but only just. The contrast colour I was going for is this, which again is very totnessy, and I'm so annoyed with myself because I wanted a pale blue, and yet again I tell you what I'll do this time round is that I'll coat the yarn in white vinegar, which will mean that the speckles are more defined, but no, they just did what they did again. It's just, I wish I'd just kept it blue instead of interfering. I just don't know when to stop. So it kind of, it's again not my cup of tea. There's nothing wrong with it per se, it's just not my cup of tea. So it's not like it's a disaster. And somebody else would love it. Do you love it? Do you think it's nice? It would go. I think it would go nicely with the brown, and it would be a lovely contrast edge. It doesn't make me want to make it. Other colours, I would want to make it. Just not in that combo. But at least that blue's better than this, which is just really depressingly bleh. It is like some sort of swampy, dirgy colour. But interestingly, this is one of the only ones that I microwaved to dye. The other ones were done on the stovetop. This one was done in the microwave. Whether or not that's why it didn't take. I blasted it. I followed the instructions, but it has not taken. So perhaps I should buy a pot of midnight blue, like a dark navy, and over dye it and see what that does. Do you think that would work? Because as it stands, I do not like it. I have some pink, I have paler blues, but nothing darker than this, so that it would make it more saturated. But saving my two faves till the end. And it's pink, funnily enough. They're both Suri alpaca. And I'm going to, see this one, I dyed it, it's got a little bit of brown underneath, and then I went, nah, it's not doing it for me, let's put some pink on top. So that's that one. And I tried doing like minimal pink. And then this one, which is just pink and more of it. And it's lovely. So this, I want it to be a nice project, but it's only one of them. And I can't replicate it because I'm not talented enough, or skilled enough, or experienced enough, which is fine. This is not going to be a new foray at all. It's just experimenting and having fun because I had some undyed yarn. What would you make with one single skein of Suri alpaca? I think there's 300 metres here. Let me know. I'm still thinking. With this one, I'm going to pair with this. But numpty that I am, I only have two skeins of this, cakes of this, and it's 112 metres. 112 metres does not make 300 metres. So I'm cross with myself for being a fool and not ordering 3, because I knew what I wanted it for. I knew, yet I still did nothing about it. So I think I will cake this up, work on the first cake with this, see how I feel about it, and then should it be working nicely, I'll order cake number 3. What do we think of this setup? Is it okay? This is the mess of my desk down in the front room, where I've got, like, down here that's all like loads of whips and projects and stuff like that, and I've got more in that basket there, right on the edge of the view. Hell of a lot of stuff in there, and then just stuff. And then I don't know what you can see behind me, but I don't think you can see all the trash that's hidden down there. Fingers crossed you can't. Anyway, I want to make a very simple shawl. Maybe these stitches are even too fancy for simple, I don't know. But essentially, this is like half of it. Then I've gone from this point, and I'm growing to the centre, and then I shall decrease back down. So it'll be like a shallow shawl. And it's granny stripes in the centre, but with a solid edging, and then I'll put a pretty border around the outside, probably. But I figured that was simple enough to let the yarn do the talking without it being like too plain, you know? That's the idea anyway. It took me ages to get this pattern going, because the increase rate of the clusters is different to the increase rate of the edge. And it was a massive faff to sort out. And I think I've got the pattern now, so I'm okay. I need to work out how best to do it in the centre, because it does straighten off a little bit, and I don't want it to straighten off. I want it to be pointy. So we shall see. I'll do some more experimenting. But this is just a really nice blue colour. But I'm not going to tell you what this yarn is because it's just a swatching yarn. It's way too scratchy for shawl making. So there's that shape. And this one I'm holding together a hand-dyed speckle and some mohair. And this one's a deeper one. How am I working it? This one is a deeper one where the granny clusters increase at the same rate as the edging increases as well. So it's much easier, but it means the shawl would be deeper. So you've got more increases on this one, and therefore you would create a more triangle. Let's hold the two up together so you can see what I mean. That's quite a difference, isn't it? So the difference between these two shawls is the number of increases you make per row. And the reason I persisted with this one with its uneven, unmatched increase rate is because I prefer the shallower shawl to a really, really solidly proper triangle. So that's the same, but there is an alternative as well, because what I could do is just carry on without doing the point, because I could wear it, finish off a few rows with solid treble stitches, and it could sit like that instead. Do you think I should do that? I think I prefer it like this, you know. I think it's more interesting. So we could add options. But yeah, so that's it. That's my foray into yarn dye. If it's kind of made you go, what are you on about? Then by all means, comment down below. Let me know your queries and I'll try and answer them. But also, if you're interested in yarn dyeing, please go to the experts and have a look at their videos. I spent hours watching yarn dyeing videos from experts, but also maybe, just maybe, you'll know when to like cut your losses and go, do you know what? This isn't for me. I'm not good enough here. So from now on, my money will be going to yarn dyeing businesses, and not, because honestly, I nearly bought like bags and bags of undyed yarn thinking that, not that I was going to sell it, I was just going to make myself like sweater quantities of yarn. And no, I'm not. No, I'm not. It's not going to happen. I'll stick to my crochet, stick to my day job, which isn't crochet, but you know what I mean. Anyway, I hope you are well. I think I'll leave it there. I will be back. I've got lots of things I want to share with you. Just things that I've been working on, and it would be nice to have a chat. I do miss having a chat, especially like the last few months have been shocking, quite frankly. I'm just let's end on a high note. I will see you again soon. Thank you so much for watching. See you later. Bye.